At least 2 Russian police officers have been killed in an explosion in Moscow. The explosion took place near the site where a Russian army general was killed 2 days ago by a car bomb. Russian police say the attack took place after they approached a man acting suspiciously near the site. Reports suggest the man detonated the bomb when approached by the officers, and Russian authorities said that a third person was also killed. However, it did not specify who the third person was. The explosion comes just 2 days after a Russian general was assassinated in Moscow. A bomb had been planted beneath the general's car. The bomb tore the SUV up when it exploded, as he was leaving his parking space. On the battlefield, Russia continues to press Ukraine on the front lines. Ukrainian troops have now withdrawn from the eastern town of Siversk. Now, Siversk is a town in the heavily embattled Donetsk region and was among the last few strongholds held by Ukraine. Russia had announced the capture of Siversk almost 2 weeks ago in a statement. Ukraine's general staff said it had withdrawn its troops to preserve their lives, adding that they had inflicted heavy losses to the enemy. Russian Defense Ministry claims its troops have captured 2 more Ukrainian towns, Prylipka and Andreevka. This comes on a day when a massive Russian missile and drone strike killed 3 civilians and left thousands without power in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky says these strikes show that Moscow has no intention of ending the war.
Dear Ukrainians, briefly about this day, which began with an attack on our country, another Russian attack is vile like everything they do. The energy sector was the main target, but unfortunately there are losses and injuries. Repair crews are working all day at energy facilities, maximum efforts so that Ukrainians have light for Christmas. Of course, the Russians are trying to break both this holiday and this holy day.
As Russia steps up its attack on critical energy infrastructure in Ukraine, there are renewed concerns about the safety of the defunct Chernobyl nuclear power station. The plant's director has warned that another Russian strike could collapse the internal radiation shelter.
If a missile or drone hits it directly or even falls somewhere nearby, for example, an Iskander, God forbid, it will cause a mini earthquake in the area, and no one can guarantee that the shelter facility will remain standing after that. That is the main threat.
Amid these developments, reports suggest that Russian kamikaze drones attacked a Turkish-flagged vessel in the Black Sea on December 13th. And this is while it was sailing from a Ukrainian port to Egypt. Earlier this month, Ukrainian drones had attacked Russian Shadow Fleet tankers in the Black Sea. Meanwhile, Russian news agency TASS has claimed that Putin had warned former US President George W. Bush about NATO's expansion in 2008. The agency cited declassified documents released by US National Security Archive. Now, one such document quotes a conversation between the 2 leaders in 2008, where Russian President Putin reportedly told George W. Bush that Ukraine's entry into NATO could start a long-term confrontation between Russia and the United States. Putin has repeatedly emphasized that Ukraine's ambitions of joining NATO is a red line for Moscow. Kremlin considers this as one of the root causes of the conflict and believes that Kiev must give up any hopes of joining the Western military alliance. As the war rages on, Europe is also ramping up its military preparedness to counter the ever-growing threat from Russia. In the latest, Finland has decided to raise the reservist age from 60 to 65 next year. The move is likely to increase 125,000 conscripts over 5 years. The Baltic nations' reserve currently comprises around 900,000 citizens and a wartime strength of 280,000 soldiers.